In this video, I'm going to show you the different ways to make money from a podcast. Let's get into it. I have either successfully used these or seen some excellent people using these methods and done them brilliantly well. But first, the truth. A while back I got all ranty on social media about monetization of your podcast. I didn't think it was a word in the English dictionary. Turns out I was wrong. But it is a yucky word.
That's nasty.
Creatives often see words like this, monetization, as yucky, and it puts them off making money from their creations or sets them with the wrong mindset. Podcasts are no different, and I can get even more ranty about the misleading information given on making money from your podcast. I hear a lot of, buy a microphone, make a podcast, get a sponsor, make millions, normally accompanied by an Instagram picture of their new Rolex bought from only podcast money. And the second thing is, you need 10,000 listeners per episode to get a sponsor. Both of these are wrong. Podcasting is not a quick win, whether you're looking to get more listeners, more followers, or make money. It all takes time and consistency. You may make millions, but it's not an overnight success, and the answer to how to make money from a podcast is not only sponsorship. The second wrong, you do not need 10,000 listeners per episode to make money from podcasting. This is a number thrown around when looking at sponsorship from ad agencies such as Midroll or ad insertion platform Acast, and it isn't a number to even be considered when you're asking how to make money from a podcast. You can get a sponsor for a podcast with 10 listens. If those listeners are highly engaged and relevant to a product niche, then they are likely to buy and have a lot more value than 1,000 listeners who aren't relevant to your topic or niche. So here it is, my list of how to make money from a podcast taken from people doing it very well. Number 1 is sponsorship. Like I said, you don't need 10,000 listeners per episode. Value your brand, value your audience, however big they are, and put a price tag that you would be willing to sell sponsorship for. My top recommendation for getting sponsors is to build an additional webpage for your website. Have clips, numbers, stats, and testimonials that show that sponsoring your podcast is awesome. Then make a list of 10 businesses that would fit your show, that would see real value in reaching your audience. Contact them going down the list, send them to those stats, and see what they say. My old company had a sponsor on a show that had only 200 to 300 listeners per episode, but they were highly engaged and relevant, so they had really good brand association. Number 2 is affiliates. An affiliate is where you sell someone else's products with a link that gives you a cut of the sale. Another great way to make money from a podcast. These can be a nice source of income for products relevant to your brand, but I cannot stress this enough. Make sure the product is actually awesome and you would actually use it and you would recommend it. You don't want to end up sounding like like a podcast version of one of those websites where you can't find the content through the weird unrelated banner ads or pop-ups that keep taking over. 3, donations. We all make our podcasts for free. We put our blood, sweat and tears into them and people get to listen to them for free. It doesn't seem fair when you put it that way. Donations through a system like Patreon is often described as a non-yucky way to ask for something back. There are actually nice people in the world and they will send you a little donation now and then because they enjoy your podcast. Number 4, sell something. Here's where podcasts really convert. You may have a writing service, a coaching class, a piece of software, a membership site, whatever it is, the podcast builds trust with a listener base and is the perfect way to naturally offer a product. Again, make sure it's relevant to your show's topic, but selling your book, your web design plugin, your number one, your one-to-one coaching is the number one way you can make money from your podcast. Number 5, premium content. This can be set up as donations or as a membership site. However, selling additional content to your podcast can be a great way to make money from it. Personally, I don't like the idea of telling half a story in a podcast and someone has to donate to hear the other half, but I have seen it done. Maybe, however, you offer an amazing free podcast with great interviews, but then there is a premium podcast feed that has all the rituals and routines of your guests. Or they get video content sent to them with a certain level of Patreon donations. All great ways of generating extra revenue. 6, merchandise. If you have a loyal fan base that love your show, merch is a great way to go and it's a double win. You sell a product generating some income and they walk around as a walking talking advert for you in a branded t-shirt or a logoed baseball cap. That's a win on how to make money from a podcast and an extra bit of marketing for you. In summary, when thinking about how to make money from a podcast, please don't get bogged down with the total number of listeners on your show and think that just because you don't have 10,000 plus listeners, you can't get some of that well-earned money back from your podcast. You can, I promise. A question for you this week then, are you using any of those methods to make some moolah for your podcast? Or are you struggling with any of those ideas, or have you seen any other great ideas? Comment below this video. I'd love to hear about how you're making money from your podcast or any struggles, and I'm happy to chat in there and help you out. As always, hit subscribe if you liked this video, and I'll see you next week.